N. Srinivasan has given an apology. He's provided an apology in Supreme Court for chairing that controversial February 8th meeting as BCCI President. He has requested to the court not to issue him a contempt notice. This is the big development that we're reporting to you right now. Remember, the Supreme Court had made an adverse observation on N. Srinivasan chairing a meeting of the BCCI on February the 8th. Indications of conflict of interest already made by the Supreme Court. This time, N. Srinivasan has requested the court not to issue him a contempt notice. He has in fact apologized to the court. I want to go straight across to consulting editor sports with the India Today group, Boria Majumdar, for more on this. Boria, what do you make of this? He's apologized and said, don't slap me with a contempt notice.
Second time round, Shiv, this is not the first time. He apologized on December 17th for the first time, saying that he should not have attended a working committee meeting in November, but he then once again attended the meeting on February 8th. This tells you two things. One, come 2nd of March, the BCCI AGM, he will definitely not want to chair it more. Second, he will perhaps not even attend that meeting as Tamil Nadu Cricket Association President. So that's a biggish development as far as the Srinivasan lobby is concerned. Whether or not the Supreme Court buys the apology, after that what happens, but this is yet another blow. And it is now clear that that 8th February meeting, by doing what he did, Srinivasan was off the line. What this impacts in terms of the 2nd March BCCI AGM, we'll have to wait and see, but it is clear that Srinivasan will perhaps not attend the AGM anymore.
And what's the next step as far as N. Srinivasan himself is concerned? I mean, he's asked the court not to slap him with a contempt notice, but what happens at the BCCI now?
Two things. One, Mr. Srinivasan will now have to wait for the report of the Justice Lodha Committee, the 3-member committee who is probing Chennai Super Kings, Gurunath Mayappan and that entire fiasco, and see if there is actually a conflict of interest there or not. If there is, then obviously the committee will make recommendations and Mr. Srinivasan will have to abide by that. Second, in terms of the BCCI, the AGM and the elections are due on March 2nd. Clearly, Mr. Srinivasan can't contest, point number one. Point number two, can he attend that meeting? Perhaps not. Even as Tamil Nadu Cricket Association President, no. Can he chair that meeting? Absolutely not. So in terms of Mr. Srinivasan's actions within the BCCI, he will find it very difficult to sort of salvage his position come the 2nd March BCCI AGM and the long due election.
Boria, there's a level of farce that's already descended on this entire issue where you've got someone like N. Srinivasan. I speak for a layperson here because when they look at this story with all its twists and turns and complexities, they're going to say, N. Srinivasan, a powerful, a very powerful, very influential sports administrator, a person who knows the ins and outs of this entire issue more than anyone else perhaps, is apologizing in court for a meeting on February the 8th. The obvious question would be, he must have known that this is something that the Supreme Court was not going to be happy about.
See, very good question, but here you should blame his lawyers also.
Yeah.
Obviously, Mr. Srinivasan should not have sort of attended that meeting, but make no mistake, he attended that meeting based on the suggestions of his lawyer. In fact, from what I understand, his lawyer walked into that meeting, explained to all the BCCI members that Mr. Srinivasan is in fact eligible to chair that meeting and explained their reading of the Supreme Court observation that he was entitled to. So if anybody is to be blamed, his lawyers are also to be blamed for giving him false advice, because today this public shame that is being heaped on him, he has to apologize in front of a court, and that is being publicized all over the country as breaking news. It is an act of shame. For that, not only he himself is responsible, but his entire battery of lawyers are also responsible for making him go through this.
All right, Boria, we'll leave it there for the moment. Thanks very much. N. Srinivasan has apologized to the Supreme Court for attending that BCCI meeting on February the 8th. Has also requested the Supreme Court not to slap him with a contempt notice.